Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the week again. So light them if you got them. And if you don't, well, be a lot cooler if you did. This week on the PD Skillz Show, we have the number one contender to the IWS Championship, Big Ben Ortmanns. How's it going? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing good, man. I'm exhausted. I'm ready. I'm tired. I'm pumped up. I'm a mixed big ball of a lot of emotions this week, and I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, well, I mean, 100%. I mean, that's we'll kind of jump forward a little bit to it. For those of you that are wondering, you can give them the time, date, all that good stuff for the upcoming IWS show.
Yeah, it's this coming Saturday in Montreal at the MTELUS Theater. From what I've been told, that is the second largest concert venue in Montreal, with the exception of the Bell Center. And I wrestled there last month, where I became the number one contender. And it is probably the most magical building I've ever wrestled in my life. And, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, I know after, with everything, the big layoff for everybody, COVID, all that stuff, like obviously everybody is on their quote unquote comeback, but for you, it seems to be a bigger thing. Your comeback with wrestling, you seem more focused than, I've seen you from afar in the past, and really geared up. What kind of got the wheels going hard again for you in motion?
Thank you. And that's a very good question. And I think a couple of different things kind of got me. One of the things is something that I went over in the latest video that I just dropped a couple of days ago on my YouTube page. If you haven't seen it, I urge you to go check it out. It's the most literally honest thing I've ever put out there, probably in my life. You can see it at youtube.com/Big Ben is angry. And that's
the Big Ben is blog, right?
Yes, it is.
And perfect.
But I put together a little promo package for this weekend, but it wasn't. But I don't know. It's weird because it wasn't really as much a promo as it was just.
It's not cutting a promo. It's still promo, but like it's a story.
If I'm being completely honest with you, the backstory to that is that I was on the treadmill and I was working out, and just everything just kind of hit me of like the magnitude of what was happening and the reason why I was there and just what it is that kind of got me there. And I just had to let it out right then and there. And there's a reason why I'm not actually like you don't see me on there. It's just because I'm a sweaty bag of shit on a blank screen and it just doesn't visually look good, but I needed to get out what I had in my heart. And it was when there was a moment when I was doing some production work at Impact Wrestling, and you can see in the video who it was, but one of the higher ups there just straight up told me, because there was an opportunity that was available that night for a wrestler, and I wasn't doing anything else. I was kind of there just to observe. And I asked if I could fill that spot, because it was something that I've always kind of felt like I needed to complete my wrestling career, was to have a match on TV, even if it was just to get speared and lose.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I mean? I felt like that was something that I just needed to complete my mission in a weird way.
I get it. At 37, I still chase that a little bit.
And I was just, so I just asked, I was just like, listen, like I'm capable of this and there's nothing else going on. Can I please have this moment? And he just stopped dead in our tracks, because we were kind of walking and talking, and he just stopped and got in front of me and got in my face and just really looked me dead in my eyes. Like he meant this shit. And he just said, Ben, you're not a fucking wrestler here. You are management. And that's literally, that is literally like a sound bite that I hear in my head every day. And it just made me question my entire, like, everything that I've ever done up until that point, Mm-hmm. And then when the pandemic hit, like I was, our gym was still technically open at that point, and we were doing everything by the book. Like we couldn't have been doing anything more by the book. Like, as a matter of fact, like we were helping the local health officials rewrite the laws of coming back in a safe manner for events, because that's how closely tied we were working with them. And that's how much better ideas I had to come back for events that I wanted to implement than they even had ready to go. So at this point, we're doing everything right. I set up a 10-episode television taping, which was going to be the second Autobahn to the Gold tournament.
Yeah.
And we were a week away from filming it. And I got an email saying that I had to shut down production because of COVID reasons and all that stuff. And then I believe it was like I was devastated at this point, because like it was literally the best thing I've ever written. And I still feel that way to this day.
Oh, and I mean, that tournament obviously is near and dear, right?
Very near and dear. It means a lot. And like there was a lot of things that happened in that, like that was going to happen rather, that just really tied into Otto himself. And there was a lot. I feel it was one of those things that I just feel like I genuinely nailed. So I was really disappointed that I didn't get to do it. And then it was only a few weeks later that we got an email from our landlords basically telling us that there was this baseball group that wanted to buy the whole building. So they were going to take the money, and then we lost our venue. And then I was just devastated, because I was just like, I didn't know what else more I could do at that point. Like,
yeah, once you get in a spot where you've got your things, and I mean, even if it's not something you own, your assets, you like, it's an asset to you having that place, that regular spot. It becomes, part of the brand, and then you're told, hey, you can't come here.
Well, yeah, and like, I mean, that place really was a lot of different things. It was our gym, it was our studio, it was our home, like it was our place of like our place to go to cure our insanities, you know what I mean? Like it was where we go to feel normal and to let our like transgressions out of the day and stuff, and to get our creative. It was just, it was a lot, and it was frustrating because I'm watching other people that I know aren't doing these things, doing the things that I'm losing. Yeah. So I was just really devastated. Like it was probably the most depressed I've been in a long time. And then I don't know what it was, but actually I do know what it was. My apologies. I know exactly what it was. So I just felt like I needed something different, because I needed to do something different. And next thing I know, me, Brady, and Matt Grant, my buddies, just were like, hey, let's try Twitch. Like, there's nothing else. Like, people are doing it. Like, let's just try it. I don't know what we'll do on it. But then, we were just trying different things out. And I was playing games. We were doing podcasts. I was
you guys were, I mean, that's what kept everybody connected during, the pandemic. And like, whether it be, playing Among Us at fucking all hours of night on Twitch, or whatever the case may be. It was kind of a weird time where you'd see all these people you're used to seeing on the indies taking each other on in this gaming fashion.
I never got into that kind of stuff because I'm very like gaming wise. I'm pretty much like, if it's not like UFC or football, I get it. I just have a hard time doing it. I don't know, man. I'm weird that way, I guess. But next thing I know, the boys kind of started to trickle away from it. But I really loved the concept of Twitch. And I don't know I didn't really know what it was, but I was just like, I really like doing this. And then, so I saw that Speedball was watching wrestling, and I was just like, oh, I could watch wrestling. So I was just watching stuff that I thought that people wanted to watch. And then I just noticed that like nobody was watching, you know what I mean? I just noticed that like, I was like, what do I got to do to get people to kind of like get into this with me? And then I realized that a lot of the stuff that I'm watching, I didn't even really enjoy watching myself, because I'm just watching North American wrestling that I've been watching.
You got to watch something like that is going to draw people in. You can't watch like Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels in a fucking Iron match. We've all seen it.
Exactly.
We've all seen it. We've all seen every possible opinion on it. Like, whether it's a good or bad, yours is going to be close to somebody's. Like, it's got to be something different.
Exactly. And I almost felt like I was coming off like and I didn't want to come off this way, but I felt like I was coming off like one of those like dickheads who just felt like the need to watch wrestling but explain it. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to do that just because I'm a teacher. Like, I don't want to do that. So the one day I just decided, like, you know what? There's nothing going on. I've got no gym. I've got nothing in the foreseeable future. I don't know what is happening. Nobody does. The world's all fucked up. For the first time in like 8 years, I'm dropping my guard, like completely going to drop my guard. And I was just like, you know what? hey, people that are here, can you, somebody taught me about Discord. I'm like, can you go into my Discord and just leave me links for matches that you want to like, what's your favorite wrestling? I want to get to know what other people like, because as a wrestling fan, I want to start to kind of open my mind up to things, but as a promoter, I also want to know what people enjoy, like show me matches and I'll watch those with you. Next thing I know, people are leaving me these links for Noah matches and like these incredible Japanese wrestling matches and stuff that I always wanted to give an honest go to, but I could never do it because I didn't understand what the fuck was happening, because I don't speak Japanese and I didn't know the backstory. I couldn't understand the commentary. I just didn't know what was going on. I didn't know who most of them were. So when you have somebody that is passionate about it and they're there with you to explain what's happening, who's who, and like the whole process, and then I was just like, oh shit, like this is kind of fun. And then next thing I know, I just start falling in love with wrestling again, because it like, I just genuinely love hard hitting wrestling. Like that's just me. I love when dudes beat the fuck out of one another. I know that's not a thing for everybody, but it's what I like. I got into
hard hitting forever. I
got into kickboxing and into mixed martial arts, and it was really just something that I enjoyed, because I thought that it was going to scare me to death when I was doing it. But then when you get in there with guys that really know what they're doing and can teach you how to do things like properly, you just like, oh, this is fucking amazing. And then you just really learn to enjoy the art form and everything about it. And you start to realize that getting hit's not bad. It's not that like it sucks, but I mean, like, world. No, it's enjoyable. Like, especially when you can create art behind it, and I'm not afraid to take a shot. I'm not afraid to give a shot. And that's why I've genuinely enjoyed that kind of, I was starting to realize, I'm like, oh man, Kenta doesn't open up matches with a lockup because you have to. Like, you'll walk in, ding, 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 and kick the fucking mouth off of a guy. And I'm like,
and that adds a little bit of realism, because there's not a rule of how you have to start a match, right? So like when it's always got that basic lock up formula, it becomes repetitive.
Yeah. And it just completely reopened my mind to like, wow, like pro wrestling can be what I always, and like, or what I kind of like, what tickles my heart, I guess, if that makes any sense. And now I got to just understand it. And then I just was watching more and more and more of it. And the reality is that my Twitch community is completely responsible for me falling in love with wrestling. And I know this is a bit long-winded to get to the original answer, but next thing I know,
by all means, man.
Speedball Mike Bailey, he starts recommending more matches for me, and like him and I got real tight through the pandemic, and then all of a sudden we just were like, hey, let's see if Twitch will, like, for me, they'll definitely do it for you, but that's too easy. So let's see if people will do it for me, and if they would want to see it from my perspective, if they would want to see me wrestle you. And so what we did was we put up a goal for bits for a month. And if I hit that goal, and all that was going to do was pay for my gas money to get back and forth to Montreal. And I was going to have a cameraman roll down with me for free. Like, he was my buddy. We were going to edit it together. He was going to teach. That's how I was going to learn more editing. And like, we had this idea that, like, I almost don't want to spoil the idea in case we ever do it again, but we had this amazing idea to put a match together between the two of us, but we were going to film it because it was during the pandemic. Right. But we didn't reach the goal. So we kind of already were like, well, let's give the people that did donate, because there was a pretty hefty amount that did donate. Let's give them something, but not the actual goal, because you can't just give them something if we didn't hit the goal, right? So then we came up with this idea to do a 6-man tag match on this IWS pop-up show. So we still wrestled one another, but it wasn't a one-on-one match. And then next thing I know, that like started like that match alone, I was hooked. I was locked in, and it dawned on me. I was just like, oh my God, like, wrestling this guy, not just because he's so good, but he whatever was in me that needed to come out this whole fucking time, you know what I mean? Like, he got it. And and I'll always love him to death for that. Like, he brought that out of me, and like that, like, so it's weird because now I feel like
that was only in a small dose, minimum contact.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, but we went hard as fuck though. Like
Yeah, no, but I don't mean minimum but I mean as far as like it was a multi-man match. You guys had some contact with each other, but nothing like we're probably about to see.
correct. Like, I mean, this is going to be my first ever one-on-one match with him. And, whew, man, everything, like I said, like everything's just really hit me this past like couple of days. It's just like, you know, like I was never supposed to be here, you know, like it's hilarious. Like I keep thinking about that. Like, it's just like, I don't know what the fuck I did to get here. Like it's weird, but
Worked hard, hustled,
yeah, I
helped
guess that's
others.
really it.
It's not hard to see, dude.
I guess that's really it, but, it's just, it's wild, man. And, it's not lost on me, this opportunity. And I'm very, I'm nervous. I'm excited, but I'm like, I'm ready to go, dude. I'm like ready to go.
Yeah, that's exciting. Is there anywhere that people can catch it live?
I think so, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say, because they haven't announced it yet.
Oh, well then fair enough. I mean, stay tuned for IWS. I mean,
yeah,
whether there's an announcement to come or whether there's not, and you got to check it out later, or you're in the area, get a fucking ticket.
yeah. MTELUS will be the place to be at full capacity, which is what this is. What's wild to me is like, I mean, like it's not just the match itself; it's the magnitude. Like,
Yeah,
this is the first full capacity show in Montreal at MTELUS, and I'm fucking me. I'm main eventing against the best wrestler in the fucking country. Like, it's just a wild thing, man. And I'm just, like I said, I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
and like how, I mean, obviously, how much, like obviously, there's a rise to it, but how much you feel the stock go up on that with the recent announcement of his signing? Because that all happened after this match was ready to go.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I don't really know if it does change, because the reality is that it's as if there was like 99 chips that are stacked against me, and then they just added that last one to make it 100, if that makes any sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this entire match is like, it's just wild. Like, nobody, no, I've watched it online. I've watched the way that they've advertised it. I've watched the way that people, like, nobody fucking expects me to win this. Like, because they're like, what is this guy that's winning all of these, like, you know, speedball fucking 30 belts over here is gonna all of a sudden just drop one to this guy? Like, I mean, why would he? Like, he just got signed to Impact. He's not going to just get a contract and then lose and whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I see this stuff, and this is the shit that, like, in a weird way, like it kind of it almost echoes that original statement from Impact, man.
I was just gonna ask you about that. I've been sitting here going, is this your time to go? I'm not an executive. I'm a motherfucking wrestler.
Yeah, like, this is this is the thing that people don't understand, like how much is on the line for me for this. You know, it's not just a belt, it's a gigantic fuck you. It's a gigantic, like, stamp on a lifetime's worth of work. It's real, dude. This shit's real. Like, this is the realest thing that I've ever been a part of as far as pro wrestling goes. And I'm fucking, I don't know, man. I'm ready to go.
I'm excited for it. I mean, obviously, you got to this point because other people wanted to see it and are excited for it. So, I mean, best of luck to you for that match.
Thanks,
and I
brother.
mean, you know, speaking of things that are big and, you know, that you're, you know, passionate about, let's talk a little bit about some crossbody.
Yeah, let's.
So some shows coming up. I know we got a strand of 3. We got November 26th, December 3rd, and December 17th. But we'll kind of take them in order here, because now the first one, you've been joined by C4 and Barry Wrestling for this.
Yeah.
And this one is the showcase for the Sturrock family.
That's correct. So this this is wild how this is just all snowballed. You know, the idea is that I wanted to get a couple of showcase series shows in before we brought back like crossbody pro wrestling, the big shows, because we're moving into a new venue. There's kinks that you want to work out to make sure that, you know, the big shows are worth the money that people spend. And, you know, and I have a certain kind of expectation of how I want my product presented, you know, and so I figured to go a couple of showcase shows first would probably be a good idea. Like, it kind of gives us an opportunity to kind of get ingrained into the community as well. And, you know, it's been so long since we've done some of these, and in a weird way, like I've just genuinely missed doing things for people. So, you know, once I realized that I could do a couple of shows to, you know, kind of cap the year off, I was like, well, you know, as new as we are to this building, and like basically our bills have like doubled, like everything is just, it's crazy. But you know what, I'm not going to focus so much on that right now. Like I want to help people, and there are people that need it right now. So that's why I was just like, let's help Kurt and his family immediately, because we all love him. He's done a lot for our company. He was a blue ribbon champion at one point. Not that that means like, hey, we got to help him, because he was like, I've known Kurt since Kurt started.
Wrestling. If somebody's 9 out of 10 times, if somebody's a champion in your company, it's because they're there and they're putting in the work and they're part of a family. It's more than just, you know, a wrestling company and a piece of gold. And like, because I mean, I say 9 out of 10 times because every once in a while, yeah, you see somebody put a title on, you know, a guy who's a big draw, but a lot of times in the indies, the guys who are holding those titles are family.
There's a trust that goes into people that hold those titles, because sometimes it's not even necessarily a family thing. It's a trust factor of like, hey, like, you know, especially for that belt at the time, like the whole point of it was to, like, I held it first, second. And I hated doing it, but the whole purpose is that it was for me to wrestle students, and for like a student to eventually win it, you know what I mean? But like, we wanted to build some students up first, and then whoever was kind of like first to start taking off, it was like, hey, then that's what we were going to do, is to kind of slingshot it on them. And then like, hey, you beat coach and you beat the whatever, and like, here's the rubs, now start going off to work all these other different guys. But if I'm just being honest with you, it just didn't happen as quickly as I wanted it to. So I needed to get it off of me, because I didn't want to have it anymore. So I just got it off to Kurt, and Kurt knew what the role was, and he was unbelievably excited to do it. Like, he had ideas, like where he came in, he's like, hey, I want to wrestle this student and do this, and then do this and do that and that. And like, you know, he had like so many different ideas worked out in his head. And like, I just loved working with Kurt. Again, just like I've known him since he started, like since he was him and Alex. It's so this whole thing sucks, you know, like,
absolutely, man. He's a fucking great guy. I mean, every interaction I've had with him has always been, you know, a great interaction. Like you said, you know, he always great ideas, wants to work with a lot of people, and just, he's not a selfish guy. Like, and
he loves the business, and he loves seeing other people. He loves seeing other people love the business. If is probably the best way to put that. But you know, once I was like, hey, let's do this, and then I was like, oh well, shit, I don't know how many tickets I can really sell, just because I don't really know how many I can fit in there, and plus we have all these restrictions, especially like at the time that we were doing it. So I was like, hey, let's set a cap, you know, of all this other stuff. And then next thing I know, you know, a couple of people wanted to slowly get on, and like, it was kind of funny how like some people were like nervous to ask, but like other people just straight up didn't. And then all of a sudden people started seeing ticket sales go, and then people wanted to like really, really help out. And then next thing I know, I'm getting reached out from Steven from C4, and he's just like, what can C4 do to help this, like not just the show, because I've got such a great relationship with that company. Like, the promoters there are just such amazing guys. And they loved the fact that like we're on our way back, and they wanted to do anything that they could to help us and to help Kurt. And we kind of just came up with something, and I don't want to say what, because the whole point of showcase series are surprise shows, and it's advertised as a surprise show. And then next thing you know, like I'm at Barrie this past weekend, and then, you know, just kind of discussing things with Sean Gibson, and Sean asking how he could help. And then I was just like, oh, okay, well, you know, and then it's just things just kind of, again, they just keep snowballing. And the next thing you know, you just realize, I'm like, holy shit, like this is going to be like a groundbreaking show, like for so many different reasons. But the fact that I feel like this would have happened regardless, but the fact that this is 1000% happening, like for Kurt, like we're doing this all for Kurt. Like there are companies getting together out of the love for the business, out of love for like each other, and out of love for Kurt, to get together for a night and to have like a fucking special night. Like it's going to be so fucking cool, man. And like, as it stands right now, there's 20 tickets remaining. There's 80 tickets sold. Knowing the size of the place, and it's going to be a bonkers environment in there. And thankfully, our new landlord was gracious enough to provide us with our own Wi-Fi. So we believe that the strength of the signal is going to hold up. So I am going to be streaming it live on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Big Ben is Angry. And no, this isn't just a ploy to get Twitch followers. That's the only Twitch channel that I have. And
understandable. That's where to find it.
So who knows, if this takes off, then perhaps maybe I'll start airing, you know, showcase series shows live on Twitch. I don't know, but this is all a test, and we're going to figure it out. But the card that I've got lined up ready to go for November the 26th is you know, it's the showcase series at its core in a weird way, but at the same time, it's much more than that. Like, you'll see when it comes showtime is what I can say. You know what?
I mean, you guys have always done a good job with those showcases and stuff like that. Looking back, I mean, you guys, a reputable name on your own, the support of C4 and Barrie Wrestling. So, I mean, this is 3 companies that, you know, do things good and you deliver to the fans on a regular coming together. So that alone says, you know, it's going to be something special, and especially for a great cause. So, what's that? 20 tickets left?
20 as of 8 p.m. on Monday. Yes, there are 20 tickets remaining.
See, and you know what? By the time this airs, it's probably going to be sold out, because I mean, we air on Thursdays. But if you're hearing this and there's even a single ticket left, go. If it's not, you better check out Ben's Twitch.
And if not, I mean, feel free to start buying tickets for the next one. Those because we've got one on, like I said, so we're doing fundraisers for the rest of the year. So December 3rd, we're going to be helping out we're going to be donating the proceeds of that show to another guy who has meant a lot to our company, who we just connected at the right time. And
very good. He's very evil.
Very good, very evil. We're doing a benefit for Danhausen. Unfortunately broke his leg, and he broke his leg in the States, unfortunately. And we all know that those medical bills are not cheap. So
not at all.
Whatever we can do to help do anything for him. He has done a lot for me personally. He's done a lot for the company. As a matter of fact, I remember I was doing a stream for the Trevor Project on my Twitch there the one day. And I was just wrapping up talking to Speedball. And then next thing I know, Speedball hits me up like 20 minutes later. And he's just like, hey, can I come back in? And I was like, yeah, of course. And then I'm like trying to redo all this stuff on Twitch. And then next thing I know, I just see his face pop up on my screen, and then it's talking to me. And that's just fucking startling when you're like 11 hours into like anything, when you're just like, you see that, and then all of a sudden it just starts talking to you, and you're just like, what the fuck? And then but like, he was cool enough to come in there and help us raise some money for that. Like, he's just such a great human being. So I want to do everything I can to help him. And then on December the 17th, we'll be going back to our roots, which was the beneficiary of the original Autobahn for the gold tournament night, except instead of doing it in KW, we're going to be passing and spreading that love to our Cambridge new home of the Cambridge Animal Society. So very much looking forward to that.
And it's so all of these shows are going to follow that format where it's going to be, you know, a mystery going into the day of the show.
That's what showcase series have truly always been about. I've usually always maybe advertised like a main event or something along those lines, maybe one match. And then I leave the rest of a card as a bit of a mystery for a couple of different reasons, just because it's fun for the fans. It's funny because I even asked like during my Twitch where I was just like, hey, should I advertise matches or even like a match? Or should I kind of stick to the theme? And people actually, not one single person said, give me a match or anything, which is funny because I could have given them one.
And how was that in the beginning of doing it? Like, how was the response in the beginning?
So the reason why I ended up doing that was because I was trying to advertise matches, but because the showcase series is, again, like at the time they were $5 tickets. Now they're $10 because, again, we've got bills to pay. So,
yeah,
you know, but it's worth it. It's more than it's more than worth it, you know. But at the time, you know, there wasn't a lot of money like that was coming in, so there wasn't a lot of money to give out. So people would just cancel on the regular, and you couldn't be mad at them for it if they could get bookings for, you know, for like real money and stuff like that. Because the whole point of those shows were to get them experience to go and get those bookings for real money, you know. So
yeah, 100%.
So that's like I would never be mad at somebody for accomplishing the fucking goal, you know. So it was getting difficult because I would advertise somebody and then they just wouldn't show. And then I'd be like, well, fuck, now I look like an asshole promoter. So I remember the one time I was just like, surprise show. And then it was one of the best shows that we've ever done. And then I was like, hey, let's try this again next week. And then did it again next week and bam. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'll just try advertising one match that I know is going to be there.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, I'm like, oh, I think I've got a formula here. So we're going to go with the no matches announced. We're going with announcing the fact that C4 is involved, with Barry's involved. How? Find out on that night.
There you go. And for those of you on Spotify, he just gave us the Mr. Evil. So
I sure did.
Great things being masterminded for some great events, great causes across the map. Now, aside from obviously, like we've gotten to see, you know, some of the things coming up for you that are very near and dear to you. You know, through the years that you've been in this business, who are some of the people that have been like the biggest influences on you, whether, you know, in any way, shape, or form?
Oh man. Well, there's been so many different people. You know, obviously Notorious TID has been a huge influence on me. He's one of my best friends. He's like, we've been attached at the hip for about the last like 8 years.
Yeah, I haven't seen him forever. I only ever seen him at like a few shows like ages ago. I wrestled him once here in Windsor at the like at the river, and yeah, he's a fucking solid guy. So
if I don't see him for more than like 2 or 3 days, it's weird. But yeah, like he was a big influence on me, like especially over the last year or so. Speedball Mike Bailey's been probably my biggest influence, just because he's, again, kind of reopened my eyes and to
been a motivator.
Yeah. And you know, it's weird. We motivate one another. Like he, because again, like when I was doing my mixed martial arts stuff, I used to live with one of my buddies who was a mixed martial arts fighter, and he was literally the most savage human being I've still probably met to this day. Like I've never met anybody that was such just a genuine fucking like savage. I can't think of a different word than it. Like, I mean, you put this dude in fight camp, but like if he's got to do something, like I've never seen any, like you can't fucking budge this dude. You couldn't outwork him. Like you couldn't like, you couldn't phase him. Like, it was the fucking wildest shit I've ever seen. And when you are trying to have a work ethic similar to that and you live with the guy, it becomes very easy to absorb. Because if you become one of those, like, for example, like if he's in fight camp and all of a sudden you've got ice cream in the freezer, and then you go to fucking grab the ice cream, and then you see him creep out of his room, and then you've got ice cream in your hand, and you have that weird awkward, like, you match eyeballs, and you look down and he's looking at you, and he's just like, you motherfucker. And I'm just, you feel guilty. And you know what I mean? Like, so you're just like, hang on a sec. Like, if I want to be like this guy, like if I want to be on that level, then I've got to start doing shit that he's doing, because otherwise I'll never get there. So it became like this really great environment for me, being where I was at, not just in my home, but like in my gym. Because again, we're talking Mark Hominick, Sam Stout, Chris Horodecki, Chris Clement, guys like Jesse Ronson, my roommate Jesse Gross, Chad Lepre. Like, we are talking a room full of fucking savages. So developing the work ethic that I have now that people see was it was something that I've always wanted to obtain, but I didn't like. And I think it's the work ethic that everybody wants to obtain, but you just don't know how to do it until you see it and you can absorb it, you know? And I was just lucky enough to be in an environment where I was able to.
Yeah. And that's sometimes, you know, the perfect environment does that, you know, it fosters the right attitude, and that's a great thing to have.
Yeah. And, you know, and one guy I got to give props to, actually two guys I got to give props to, because, you know, not just from a wrestling perspective, but I've been doing a lot of production work over the last like couple of years. And the two guys that I owe all of that to are George Iceman and Scott Demore. They taught me, they kind of gave me this amazing opportunity to learn a lot of these, to basically get this education that not very many people have. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I'll always be grateful for. And it allowed me to get an education from guys like Keith Mitchell and Andrew Thomas, and to work with like some really, really just knowledgeable guys. And it's just something that I'll never, ever forget. And it's something I'll always be appreciative of. So I'm lucky. I've had a good crew of people that have wanted to help me.
And I mean, obviously getting to know all those different areas of the business is great, because then you get to take all that knowledge and where feasible, apply it to what you're doing.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's exactly what I did. Like when I first got that education, like I was already running my shows, and I was just like, I have to immediately somehow bring this back to my crew, because mm-hmm. There's something to it. And I made investments immediately. Like I spent a stupid amount of money that I did not have, but I did it anyway, on like these radio transistor fucking devices that I could like speak to my referees and all this other, like everything that I saw, I got like this really weird condensed version of. I spoke to my producer and I was like, this is what they've got. I was like taking pictures. I would send him shit to him. I'm like, this is, and he like, well, we can't afford that. I'm like, no shit. Like he would find me like something that I could use that was like that. And we put together this makeshift system that like, it became like this thing where I was able to actually take what I had learned and apply it to my show. Mm-hmm. And I would dare say that the crew that comes from Crossbody that was doing that stuff was by far the most independent TV ready crew that you could possibly find. You know, anybody that was getting looks, whether they were getting extra work at WWE or whether they're getting extra work at Impact, it was unbelievably noticeable how much more ready they were looking for TV than everybody else, because they already knew how to do it.
Mm-hmm. No, that's great. Not only do you take it, apply it to your stuff, you know, you're passing it out to other people and, you know, making everybody else, you know, the better for it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I've been very, very lucky that of all the things that I've really ever wanted to do in my life, the things that I've always spent my money on and got burned on, I kind of got repaid in a weird way. And like in return, like when I got burned on wrestling school money, when I first started, mm-hmm. you know, I kind of got repaid by the fact that the other training that I ended up getting, I ended up kind of winning like this really weird scholarship that nobody knew about. And I was basically getting free training. And, you know, it wasn't the best training, but it was free training. And I got my foot into the door in pro wrestling. And then that allowed me to get other training from all these other guys who really allowed me to pay them in work, you know, and they paid them in hard work. Like that was the currency. And, you know, that kind of became a theme for me, like throughout my life in a weird way, in my entire career, like trying to get better through that period. Guys like Chi Cruz and Vance Nevada retrained me because I worked hard, and they retaught me. And then, you know, once I kind of got out of pro wrestling for a little bit, and I kind of got into the mixed martial arts stuff, my strength and conditioning coach, God rest his soul, Brian Fletcher, he trained me for nothing. Like guys that he would literally sessions that he would charge guys like $75 to $100 for like half an hour. He would work with me for an hour on like almost every day out of the goodness of his heart, because he knew that I didn't have the money, but all I wanted to do is just fucking get better. And like, he taught me like so much. And like, so when I have the opportunity to kind of like that's you have to do that. Like,
yeah,
when you get the education that I have, like you have to repay that favor. Like, I mean, this production education that I got isn't one that I went to school for and paid for. Like, it was one where people saw some potential in me, that just saw hunger and like wanting to learn, and they put me in a position where it was a fucking literal sink or swim. And I just somehow managed to swim, thanks to Keith Mitchell being a fucking angel in my ear and just walking me through a live pay-per-view, having no clue what the fuck I was doing. And we did it, and we fucking did it. And, it was maybe the weirdest, craziest, but like best education I've ever gotten.
Hey, and you know what, on the fly, and, you know, right in the fire, that's the best way to learn.
45 minutes before the pay-per-view started, I found out I was going to be timing out the pay-per-view. And that means that I'm in charge of getting us off the air, or else hefty fines of hundreds of thousands of dollars from
that's a big one.
That's a lot. It's a lot. And Keith and I got us off the air with what we needed to do. And not many people know this, but like we got off the air with like 25 seconds before
the hammer drops.
Yeah, like we saved that company like a lot of money on our first night. So it was crazy how and it was crazy how calm I stayed, like while we were in that pocket too. You just kind of had to know that we were getting off, and we were like off the air in time, and that we were doing the right things, that we were getting all the shots that we needed. And it's crazy, man. But like, I just remember after that night, I was like, well, TV tomorrow will be fucking easy because that's taped.
Yeah. Make it as long or as short as you need to make it.
And how funny is that? Like on day 2, I was just like, oh, timing out TV is going to be a fucking breeze tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like I'm done this my whole life.
Yeah. You did your first shift in rush hour, and now it's like, all right,
I'm ready to go, coach.
Put me in a walk at the park today.
Yeah, it really was.
So, I mean, obviously big things coming up. You got IWS this weekend, and then, you know, show after show, and for, you know, for some good causes. But let's look at, you know, even though this year is looking to wrap up big for you, no pun intended. What's some 2022 goals looking like for Big Ben? Well,
goals wise right now, for 2022 would be getting to America, and that would be a thing, because I was very genuine when I said that I'm giving myself a year to hit this list of goals that I had set for myself, or I'm going to get the hell out and step aside, because if I can't hit it, then it's just like, there's not worth me staying, you know? And I don't know, maybe that was a stupid move of me, because like, I feel like I've, in a weird way, kind of set myself up to fail, because like half of those goals involve being in America and wrestling people in America. And the border kind of screwed me up on a lot of time for that, you know? So I
don't feel like anybody's going to hold it against you if you know, you pull the old WWE and take the downtime and tack it on to the end of the contract.
Well, I don't know, man. Like, if anything, it's part of the goal, and it's part of what drives me as well to, excuse me, to kind of get it done in that time as well. So
yeah, 100%.
I almost see it like as this like kind of a shitty, but it's an obstacle to get over. And like, I mean, if there's not any obstacles to get over, then I guess what kind of fun is that? Like, what are you working towards, right? So my goal right now is to get into America. Like I really want to wrestle Madman Fulton one time, just because that dude, I call him my bigger younger brother, just because, I mean, he's a lot bigger than me, but he's still my fucking younger brother. I love the dude to death. And I think that, like this is what makes this weekend so special, is that when you've got that kind of love with like a buddy of yours and like a different kind of respect in there, you fight differently, like
100%. I've said that on the show before.
You fight your friends the hardest.
A completely different, part of the sport for you. You have that trust. You can hit a little bit harder. You can, things get a little more intense because it can.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And like, that's the stuff that kind of wakes me up and kind of keeps me going. And, like if anything, like gives me the nerves and like that, I don't know, that feeling in the pit of my stomach where it's just like, oh, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? But it's just like, nah, it's because you fucking love this. And it's just like, but that's the feeling that I've missed. It's like, in a weird way, it's that feeling that I miss about actual like doing kickboxing stuff. Is like the couple of fights that I did. I remember on my walk to the ring, I was like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I literally stepping through those ropes to have another grown ass man try and take my fucking head off? Like, why did I choose to, like, why? What was I fucking thinking? This sounded like a really great idea until it was time to do it, and then you get in there, and then next thing you know, like, you take one and you're just like, that wasn't so bad. And fuck you for hitting me, dude. And then you just go, and then you realize like, you kind of just settle into the pocket, like, and you just kind of fucking, you do it. And in a weird way, like I kind of miss that feeling. And that's kind of the feeling that I've got going into this weekend. Like, I feel like I'm going to get fucking sick on the way to the ring. Like, I feel like until I get in there and then I get that first kick right in the fucking mouth or in the chest or wherever it lands, because he's gonna fucking land 1 of 1,000 on me. And but when that first one lands, I feel like that's gonna, like, that's the one I'm looking forward to the most, if that makes any sense, because then that one's gonna just knock all of that like shit. Like,
get the worst out of the way.
And it's just like, we're in it, motherfucker. Let's go. And like, in a weird way, like, that's what I look forward to the most. Like, which is crazy, because that's probably the thing that most people fear the most, is getting kicked by Speedball, especially that first one. But no, that's the one I'm looking forward to the most, because then I know that it's on and it's game time. And then everything else doesn't matter. Like the whatever fears that I have, they're out the window. Whatever, like, oh, I hope this doesn't go wrong. It doesn't matter. You're in a fucking fight, motherfucker. It's time to go. Like, so do what your game plan was, and if it doesn't work, then swing harder.
Yep. Or do something else.
I don't think there's gonna be much else. Like, I mean, like what else can we do? Like, they are literally if we don't kick the fuck out of one another, like, we're gonna, like, there's literally not another option. Like, that's the match. And what do you want us to lock up now? Like, at this point, like, doubt it.
Fair enough. Well, guys, you're gonna, no doubtingly see a hard-hitting contest coming up this Saturday, November 13th in Montreal, Quebec, for the IWS Championship. Ben, tell everybody where the fuck can they find you?
Find me on all my socials at Big Ben is Angry. You can find me at twitch.tv/Big Ben is Angry. That is probably the thing that I try to do the most right now, although I've been focusing on Twitter lately. But Twitch is where I've got just such a great community. And if you want me to learn about what you like about wrestling and you want to learn me some, you know what I'm saying? Then come on into our Watch Wrestling streams. I usually do them every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. I've been off last week. I've kind of been off this week just because, again, like with the getting, ready for this match, getting, crossbody and like the gym, the company, the shows, the everything back up and going. It's a lot. And then trying to have your girlfriend not completely hate you for being so busy. There's a lot of, there's a lot that goes into it, so I've kind of taken a little bit of time off, but I'm sure that after this week, I'll be right back to normal, and also youtube.com/Big Ben is Angry. You can go and find the Big Venus vlog or Ben is vlog, depending on how you read it. And what your perception is, I guess. And I've got
mine's definitely been changed. It's Venus now forever.
So the funny thing is my actually, I don't know if you can hear this or not, but I'll crank it up just in case you can. But I was in Ron Funch's stream there the one night, and then all of a sudden I just hear this. What's up, Big
Venus? Loud and clear.
Because that's and it's that wasn't the first time I had heard it, but that's just what he calls me now, because he was reading my name and he just sees Big Venus Angry, not Ben is Angry, because he didn't know who I was. So he just kept calling me Big Venus. And then next thing you know, like I was like, oh, okay. So for anybody that's ever wondering, and I left that like a thing for my Twitch, but I guess I'll kind of let your viewers in on this as well. On my gear, that BBE is Big Venus Energy. And that's literally an inside joke that was between us and like Ron Funches.
I've been trying. I actually, when you came out with the new gear, I was like, I don't get what the, what the acronym is there.
Big Venus Energy.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I do want to thank you a lot for coming on the show. I hope this reaches people and they come out to all these shows for great causes, and by hook or crook get a chance to see you this Saturday. Absolutely sure you're going to kill it. Until next time, you guys know where to find me at PD Skillz Show on all forms of social media. And you can catch this episode and any other episode on the YouTube if you want the video version, and Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, all that good shit if you just an audio person on the go. Until next time, get a shirt, show some love. I'm PD Skillz. This is Big Ben, and we getting the fuck out of here. Thanks, guys.